Now, this was a video that I actually had to try to digest before I decided whether or not I even wanted to reply to the comments that were in some of these videos. Now, I know that when it comes to certain topics, it's very divisive and people get upset. And I will say that of the comments that were made about this video, there were not many that were in this same mindset. There were two that stuck out to me very specifically. But the things that were said in it are very common to what I hear when it comes to these types of talking points, where a lot of the things are just regurgitated from what they heard from someone else, where there's nothing necessarily that they've read on their own that substantiates that. But I'm honestly not here to talk about the numbers when it comes to that. I just decided after sleeping on this, whether or not I was going to reply, and I decided to do so, and in not a disrespectful manner, because I don't think that coming at somebody sideways, I want to respond to these, 1.5 comments with careful consideration and just hear me out. If you don't know, this is pertaining to the last video that I put out, which had to do with some of these podcast man talking. You're in your 40s, unmarried with no kids, and go to therapy. You're the last guy that should be giving men advice, bro. Now, I could sit here and try to give contention to all of those things, which, I'm going to be honest, most of those aren't true. I don't really talk about my personal life on the internet because I don't think that it's important to anything that I do, nor do I think it's anybody's business. And out of protection for the people around me, I tend to not discuss things. So if I was single or not, I would never discuss it. If I had children or not, I would never discuss it. So if you want to believe that both of those things are true, that's absolutely fine with me because I've never addressed. But I can emphatically tell you two things. Number one, I'm not in my 40s. I constantly talk about being a 90s kid and a millennial, which would probably indicate my age range. Again, I don't put my personal information on the internet because I don't think it's important to anything. But since you said that, I will say emphatically, not in my 40s. I hope to make it there one day, though. And the second part of that, saying that I go to therapy, is only half true because I don't currently go to therapy and I haven't for years. But I have been open about the fact that there was a time in my life where I did struggle with mental health and I thought it was a smart thing to go to therapy. And to be perfectly honest, it did help. And to all the guys out there who may feel like they need to talk to somebody, I encourage you to talk to somebody. It doesn't make you not tough, and I don't think that's a point that you should be trying to diss someone over. And I won't in this one. But what I will show you, and I'm going to put them up on the screen, are the comment history about the same person that was writing these things. You can kind of guess where he's coming from with these sorts of things, which don't necessarily have anything to do with my content, more to do with his own thoughts and feelings on it. Constantly yelling at somebody who doesn't reply to you, it usually is an indicator that you have something that you want to be heard. And if you don't feel like anybody is listening to you, honestly, I'd listen to you if you wanted to talk. But I don't think you want to talk to me because clearly I don't fit the criteria of somebody that you would want to listen to. So I would suggest talking. It does help. I don't really think that it's a bad thing. But the second thing I wanted to say before I moved on to that is the people that you're listening to in these podcasts, they actually do fit the criteria of most of those. The majority of them, if you look up the information on the internet, I don't want to talk about any of them individually. Most of them are in their 30s and 40s. Most of them are unmarried. And as far as the kids go, that's some of them do and some of them don't. So if you're listening to them and not me, I don't really know what the difference is other than maybe they might look a little different than me, but I digress. That's all I wanted to say about that one. I'm going to move on to the next one because I don't think that person has good intention. Now, the second one, which is the one I did reply to, I don't reply to people that are saying things with those type of undertones. So how many relationships do you know in real life that stay together except older folks because they had to survive? 85% of relationships end in breakups, overwhelmingly by, I don't know if he's afraid to write women because he keeps spelling it with two V's, but 50% of marriages end in divorce by 70% of women, and most stay together to avoid breakup of kids and finances. Are you still with any of the girls you claim did you wrong and some you did wrong? In that video, I was talking about how, in relationships, I didn't behave in a respectable manner in the past, and neither did they. So that's what he clearly listened. So I respect that. You're not talking about the real reasons why we are divided. And 8 people like that. Again, I don't have a ton of views, so that's alarming to me. But I'm going to go through this. How many relationships do I know in real life that stay together? I'm trying to paraphrase here, except for older folks because they had to survive. I mean, here's the thing about that. Number one, I know a lot of them. Most of my friends are married, and they have been for a while. The thing that you said that kind of was I can't really give you an answer to that is, because you said except older folks. So if you stay together, that would mean you'd have to be together for an extended period of time. Judging by how you're writing, I don't think that you're older yet. So if you're talking about people staying together, you would have to be with people that were there for an extended amount of years. So you'd have to include older people in that, or else how long is staying together? Is that 5 years? Is that 2 years? Is that 10 years? What's a long relationship to you? Now, the things that you're saying in the second part about 85% of relationships end in breakups, overwhelmingly by women, 50% of marriages end in divorce, 70% by women. Now, here's the thing that women have now that they didn't have then. They have choice. They can leave or they can stay. And I don't necessarily think that you're talking about these things with nuance, because you're saying initiating divorces, yes, but you're not really saying why. You're just saying they stay together because of breakup of kids and finances. If you're saying that women leave men because of money, there's no nuance to that. There's nothing that necessarily says why they left. Meaning, if I said 50% of marriages that women leave in are because of finances, does that mean that all of those are because of someone losing their job? Maybe people have gambling addictions or any other circumstance that don't necessarily have to do with man had job, man lost job, women left. If you want to say that, you would have to be able to look through each of those and figure out and then split it up, which they don't, because that wouldn't help substantiate their claim. As far as 85% of relationships ending in breakups, there's no way to prove that, because relationships is anything that could be marriage or boyfriend and girlfriend. And since you went to like, am I with any of the girls that I used to be with? I've had a couple of relationships in my life. I've reported none of them to whatever statistic that this is like claiming. Anybody watching this video, did you participate in this poll? Did you ever have a poll which said, did you break up with somebody? Like, who are they polling with this? There's nothing that's citing any works here whatsoever. We don't necessarily know where these numbers are coming from. And the last thing that you wrote is, why does it seem like men are always getting done wrong most of the time? I've talked about this in multiple videos. That's an algorithm thing. If you're seeing those things, it's because your algorithm is feeding you those things. I even said it in one of the last videos, the whole like, I don't care about women, or women do this type of stuff, or all girls are this type of way. And I don't necessarily agree with that. If you're only focusing on that, you can find 50 billion examples of that. If I wanted to, and I looked at certain women's feeds, their news feeds, their For You pages, whatever it is, they have tons upon tons of footage or claims or stories of men doing women wrong. And you're saying that like all of the alphas are keep running back to, I said this in the last video, again, most of my friends are married. None of them would consider themselves alpha males. I don't know who you're like getting these numbers from. Broke guys, short guys, overweight guys, all get married. Some of my friends are short. Some of my friends need to hit the gym. Still love them to death, but they're a little pudgy. They're married. And none of them make what you would call a top 1% earner income. Most of them have jobs like teachers or blue collar jobs. If you'd like for me to talk about the real reasons that we are divided, because everything that you said is putting the blame on women. That is exactly what I said in that video that you listened to, that you skimmed over, and it can screw your mind up. And that's where all of a sudden you start, instead of trying to work on yourself, you start pointing the finger at everything else around you. And that's what I noticed in a lot of those. I am not in any way, shape, or form saying that there aren't women out there that do the things that you said. Absolutely true. There are women who leave men because they lost their job, or they found a better guy, or because, well, they just wanted to leave him. They have that choice, as do you. I'm not saying that that is a good thing. There are women who take men's money in alimony or with child support, and that they do it in ways that aren't necessarily the most savory reasons why. But if I flip the script, are you saying that there aren't men who hurt women physically and or mentally? Are you saying there aren't men who gamble away their kids' college funds or spend it on stock tips or whatever they do to misappropriate funds? Are you saying that there aren't men who don't have extramarital affairs? Are you saying there aren't men who don't do things that they aren't supposed to be doing in marriage, and that's why a woman leaves them? But if I sat here and said all men do that in the very reverse way, and you see women that have talking points of the same, you would tell them that they're just being weird, or they're just being rude, or they don't know what they're talking about. You have to look at things from both sides of a coin, and I don't think you are. Men don't cheat. Men don't have kids outside of marriage. Men don't have kids outside of wedlock. If you feel like there aren't any good women out there and you don't have one, there are things that you might want to change about yourself. Things that you said, the attitude that you have, and I'm saying this respectfully, my man. That's like a walking woman repellent. If you talk to a woman and said those things to her, she's going to turn and run. Energy that you're giving off, and I'm getting this just from a message, is like angst. It's anger. You seem upset about your situation. And as a man, men seem to be pragmatic by nature. The solution to your problem is not blaming women. The only thing that you can do is work on yourself. If you feel like there aren't women out there, which gets me to my second talking point in your reply, and you said the reason that you don't have one is because there's little to none of them out there, and that you and me, so me and you, both know that, but whatever. They're never going to understand the truth or accept it, which is understandable because more than half of my subs are like, now I said I wasn't going to get into statistics on this, which I really don't want to, but that last thing, I can debunk that in 2 seconds. So here are my demographics for my first channel, and these are the ones for my second channel. My subscribers are overwhelmingly men, which I always knew were overwhelmingly men because I do look at my analytics from time to time and I always see that it's usually somewhere between 80 and 75%. But I would just like to point out the contradiction between the first and the second comment, because you said there were none of the women out there. There are none. And I know maybe, and I'm trying to speak with nuance here because you seem to have left out the specific of this. I think what you were trying to say, and I'm going to go with that, is that you're saying that there are no good women out here. These are the dangers of watching those podcasts and what they make you believe exist. They're only talking to certain types of women. There's no good woman that would appear on those podcasts. The good women that you seek, they would never prescribe to someone who talks like that. They wouldn't want to be with someone who talks like that. I asked you this, and I'm sure there's men watching this that are in relationships and or married. Now, I do understand the truth, as you say that I don't, and this is what I believe is the truth. People that you are watching, there's no money in a cure. Meaning, if you actually get not single, and I said that grammatically incorrect on purpose, people who make videos like that are preying on your insecurities and your lack of answers to why you are in the position that you're in. The only person that can get you out of said position is you. If you keep listening to people who are talking about this rhetoric, you're going to be perpetually single. That means forever. I can tell you this as an imperfect person because I am neither one nor have ever claimed to be. There are always things that you can work on with yourself. And no matter what your situation is, whether it comes to your love life, your financial life, or anything that has to do with your friendship, family, anything, the only thing that you can 100% control as a pragmatic male is yourself. What that means is you have to take a look in the mirror and say, what is it about myself that I can fix? When you run out of things to fix, which you never will, then you can start placing the blame on other people. You asked who to blame. I say both sides of the coin are. It's not just women. It's definitely not just men. But blaming other people for the situation that you are in will never change anything. Even if you do believe it true, there are always things that you can work on. I'm only addressing this for one reason and one reason only. I believe that some people need to hear it, and I actually care about individuals. I don't want anything from you. The only thing I want from you is to succeed. You are not hopeless. You are not less than, and you are capable of whatever it is that you set your mind to. And I hope that you do those things. I genuinely do. None of this entire thing was meant to insult you. None of this was meant to try to belittle you. I tried to come at you in a respectful manner. You and the other people that think that way and like those types of things. If you have questions that you want to ask me on a person-to-person, man-to-man basis, please feel free. As long as things are respectful, it doesn't matter. Nothing that you said was out of pocket, like the member with the white hood over there. If you feel like I'm not the person to talk to, that's absolutely fine too. I sincerely hope and wish you the best for success. And any dude that's watching this, stop blaming other people. I promise you, there's hope for us all. Stop watching those things. They're polluting your mind. That's all I got.